Lonsdale streets as the Salvation Army's William Booth Memorial Hostel for Men becomes the centre of a tragedy.
One of the worst fires in the state's history claimed 29 lives when the Salvation Army hostel went up in flames.
But the flames shot out, it was so hot and intense heat, we sort of fell in there, but we couldn't do nothing. There was no way of getting through the flames.
When you kicked the door and you just got greeted by a wall of flame?
Yeah, a wall of flame. It was an inferno, intense heat. We couldn't do a thing about it.
At the time we was at number 1 station, and we turned out at about 8:30 for an exchange call, I feel, to men trapped at the William Booth Memorial in Little Lonsdale Street between William and King Street. As we turned from William Street into Little Lonsdale Street, we saw the flames coming from approximately the 3rd floor of the William Booth Old Men's Home.
It was a fire that made one wonder whether or not one had picked the right profession, I suppose. But I was off duty at the time and I'd been signed back on because of the fire.
We got the fire under control and everyone was working on the people who were dead, giving them external cardiac compression and expired air resuscitation. We got 30 of them going again. Some only needed their heads tilting back a little and just clearing the airway, but some needed a bit of serious work. Ultimately 30 died.
On the 13th of August 1966, Australia's worst ever building fire fatality took place. The location was the Salvation Army's men's hostel, situated in Little Lonsdale Street, Melbourne. A total of 140 men evacuated the building, 60 men having to be rescued by firefighters, tragically though at a cost of 30 lives.
The mattress was on fire. It had been caught on a radiator that was illegal on the premises. But the whole place was full of smoke. And the reason it was so bad was that the inmates in the drunken stupor and whatnot, they panicked. And some of them had been there for years, and at the panic they took the wrong turn. They finished up in a toilet, which was nowhere to go. Absolutely, it was a dead-end corner.
The thing that's amazed me, and when I do think about that fire, and I try not to think about it, was that it was just men underneath the showers dead.
My mind was why there were so many bodies in the showers and toilets at the rear of the building, whereas there was an internal stair leading right through the building. These people obviously went into the toilets, and that's where they stayed, and that's where the majority of the bodies were found. That was something that I could not understand.
Many of the victims had been drinking, which affected their ability to waken. Others, even though alerted, died from asphyxiation. Confined to the upper stories, the fire was relatively small, but the smoke generated from it caused panic and confusion, which led to men running into rooms, ignoring stairways to safety just metres away.
The floor was divided up into cubicles by cyclone wire. It was just so that each person had a bit of privacy. It was done in as cheap a manner as the Salvation Army could do it. So they had privacy with their own little area that they could lock up and keep their possessions. So it was just like a big birdcage really, with the cyclone wire throughout.
The cause of the fire was, it started in one of the cubicles at the front of the building, and only one person was burnt in the fire, in the actual fire, and it was caused by a radiator.
It was pretty horrific. Our guys did a pretty good job from what I can remember. The chief at the time, Jack Patterson, was very pleased with the work that had been done, but certainly a tragic reminder of the consequences of fire.
I can't really remember, but I would imagine I was thinking this shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't have this many dead people in a fire. Over the few years I'd already been in the job, I'd been involved with a few bodies in fires, 1s and 2s, but never 60.